A decade ago, my entire life changed when I watched an anime called Fate Zero. It opened my world to anime. Now I watched this once more this year to see if my childhood self was tripping. I was not wrong. There are many elements that make this anime stand out, from many like the characters of Gilgamesh and Kiritsugu, the themes of what is right and wrong, or what really is justice, and the story of this battle following every single servant and master in this Holy Grail war. If you're new here, I am HR Godspeed. I create anime videos on YouTube, from breakdowns, reviews, and finding concepts within anime that we can relate to our own lives. Let's get this video started. Okay, so I'm gonna do a very fast breakdown on what Fate Zero is so that we can both get on the same page. And so I also don't get lost. So there is this thing called the Holy Grail War that happens in Japan, and it's random at times. Every 100 years, every 50 years, it really just depends when this grail wants to be summoned. This Grail War consists of masters who are mages and servants who are heroic beings from the tales of history who are summoned by said masters or mages. Some of these mages are selected as masters by random, although some people have the power to select certain people to be a master, like the Tosaka family and the Ainsberg family. The Tosaka family chooses Tokiomi, and the Ainsberg family chooses Kiritsugu. These specific families have a very long history of being some of the best mages in the world. So, 7 masters, 7 servants, fight to the death in a free-for-all battle until one master is left standing with the Holy Grail in his hands. The ultimate wish-granting device. You can finally wish for One Piece to be good, guys. Anyways, this little concept is quite simple for the story, but I believe because it's so simple, it makes it to be great and stand out so much by focusing on things like the characters. We get a lot of characters in the story that we follow, and rewatching it again, it makes me appreciate the author's ability to make us care for all the masters and servants in this story. Well, not including Castor and his master, but there are about 14 or 20 characters in the story that we follow, and we're able to create our own thoughts on who we want to win this war, but at the same time, you feel empathy for those who die along the way in this war. It's brilliant how this author was able to pull this off, and there was so many times where I was like, dang, I want this guy to win, I want this guy to win, I want this guy to win. Like, I'm so all over the place. It's crazy. After making the script, I realized I really focus on the characters. So, we're going to be talking about the characters for the majority of this video because the characters are probably what makes this anime stand out so much. The characters I want to talk about are my top favorite characters in the show. I'll have some honorable mentions at the end of this explanation because I can talk about these characters for a long time. The character I want to start off with is probably everyone's favorite, which is Kiritsugu Emiya, the mage hunter. This is a man with a very long history of pulling off some of the most insane assassinations on mages across the world. We see he is even feared by the head of the Tosaka family, who is an outstanding mage, Tokiomi. So much so that Tokiomi even tells Kirei, hey, if there is any man to fear in this war, it's Kiritsugu Emiya. Kiritsugu reminds me of Punisher in the way that instead of letting these villains off on their crimes and the possibility of them doing those crimes again, just kill them. Straight up, so that they won't do it again. This is the type of man Kiritsugu is. This is the type of moral he has from the very beginning. Slowly, this breaks him down. We had some flashback episodes in season 2 that revolve around Kiritsugu's upbringing, and you can tell why he's the man he is with these episodes, and they're probably one of my favorite episodes. There is so much to unpack there, from traumas, from beliefs, from his master. There are so many things there that created him to be the man he is today. We even see how he confesses to his wife about his conflicting and doubting thoughts he has during the war, but this does not stop him from being a badass. I believe this is the only man responsible for taking out multiple masters and servants in this war. Yeah. And every time he does it with style. And it's because of his morals of killing that he has put himself in countless, and I mean countless of times, in danger. He literally stares death right in the face. And it's because of this that he is able to come out on top every time. He has built the reaction times and strategy so much it's autonomous to him. No thoughts needed, just straight up doing things. Let's get into the character who I will say is responsible for the mayhem in this show because of his way with the words and understanding people, Gilgamesh. You see, Gilgamesh is a man I decided to put in the thumbnail for this YouTube video, and that is because in my eyes, he is probably the most intriguing one of them all. This is the only servant in this list just to show you how great he is. So let me explain to you the type of man Gilgamesh is. Instantly, he can strike you as elegant, cocky, and intelligent. He wears all gold-plated armor with the drip of his earrings too, and he carries himself as the best servant in the show. Honestly, he carries himself as the most incredible human being that Earth has been blessed with. It's really funny too because when he talks shit to anyone in the show, no one can believe this type of being or human being exists or is possible. Nonetheless, he is very possible and is very real. Gilgamesh is a servant of the Tosaka family, Tokiomi, and right from the beginning, Tosaka screws up, letting Gilgamesh talk down to him, and basically swapping the roles of master and servant. This is the type of man he is. Not only this, at times, Tosaka begs Gilgamesh to act on something, and Gilgamesh basically scoffs at him every single time. Now, from the get-go, Gilgamesh making his desires come true, making one of the strongest mages in this war basically a servant. That's where he sees Kirei. He doesn't see anything interesting that exists within Tokiomi, as in who he is, how he carries himself, and his goals. No. He is interested in Kirei Kotomine. So much so that he talks to Kirei about many things, and he is able to read Kirei like a book. This essentially leads to Gilgamesh letting Kirei loose on the world to suffer. Gilgamesh is a man who is able to make a man like Kirei, who is the complete opposite of anyone in the show, open up to him. Kirei literally has no one in his life that he cares about or loves, but for some reason, Gilgamesh is able to make this man speak about his feelings, and it's honestly insane seeing this in the anime. I know there's multiple points where they're in the room talking and Kirei's making realizations about himself, and Gilgamesh just smirks because he knows what he's doing, and those moments are probably some of the most interesting moments that I've seen in the show. Gilgamesh sees Kirei has great potential because he is basically a bird in the cage waiting to be let out, and the sky is the limit for Kirei. Gilgamesh is the type of person that makes his master beg him for something, talks the most amount of shit to anyone, and is able to back it up, because I didn't even talk about his noble phantasm. There are noble phantasms in the show. It's basically the servant's most powerful attack, and Gilgamesh's noble phantasm scares the shit out of everybody. Can get the most quietest of persons in the world to become a catalyst of something catastrophic, or at least to Kiritsugu's world. The man who is the apprentice of Tokiomi. Kirei is another master in this war, but his sole reason of this is to help Tokiomi in this Holy Grail war and help Tokiomi win the Holy Grail. This was his goal, at least for now. He doesn't know what he wants in life, and he is also a man feared by Kiritsugu. That's saying a lot because of how I explained Kiritsugu is basically the most badass mage hunter ever to exist. Kiritsugu did his best to study all of his opponents, and Kirei is the one he feared the most in this war, and that's because Kirei had nothing in his life he really loved or cared for. This man has excellent abilities and loyalty to the church where he works for, and yet Kiritsugu could not find any weak point in Kirei, on top of the fact that he has so many abilities in his magecraft and is a skillful fighter as well. Kirei himself does not know what he really wants in life, and it's until he leaves the Holy Grail War and continues to have conversations with Gilgamesh that leads him to finding his true self. Now, this does not mean that him finding his true self is great for the world, and it is actually quite the opposite. Now, I thought originally it was Gilgamesh who was putting these ideas into his head, of these sinister ideas at least, but I was so wrong. Because rewatching this again, Gilgamesh says nothing sinister, evil, or even offering Kirei to do something of this sort of nature. This is all Kirei's doing throughout the entire show, and Gilgamesh basically is the one that discovers that Kirei wants to do all of these horrible things. And yeah, rewatching this being older, I can easily say it was all Kirei. This is just his own twisted mind at play here throughout the entire Holy Grail War. Conclusion: as you can see, the characters alone in this story are really what bring the best of it out. I love some characters like Lancer and Ryder, who are some of also my favorite characters in the show. I just really like Lancer's character, how he was there to help Saber when she was fighting Castor. The way he brings himself as a person, nothing like Castor at all. Castor's such a piece of shit, but Lancer is just very honorable and very noble. Ryder is someone who you look at and you think you won't get along with, but he can get along with anyone in the show, including his master, who's a kid, and he's actually really kind to him, even though he shouldn't be because the kid's the dumbass. But they actually become very close friends at the end of this show, and it's really nice seeing that. And there are many moments where Ryder's basically being like a figure to look up to, someone that his master can look up to and become, because Ryder isn't a bad person at all. He's actually one of the better characters in the story. Now, I could talk about them all day, and gosh damn, I didn't think I was actually gonna be able to do it. I actually spent this entire video talking about these characters, but I really like these characters because of the complexity of them and how their interactions with each other really bring out the best in the show. I mean, Emiya versus Kirei, the entire time these two men fear each other and they want to beat each other. The relationship Gilgamesh and Kirei have is one of the most complex and one of the most unexpected relationships I've ever seen in the show. In the show, not just anime, in the show play out, because these two characters are so different. Kirei has nothing he cares about in the world, doesn't really care for himself, and is just told what he's to do. He hasn't really had any desires. Gilgamesh is a man, like I explained, a man of luxury, a man of getting what he wants, a man of just being cocky as fuck. It's just so weird seeing these two characters blend and mesh so well. It's so odd, but these are the dynamics that really bring out some intense moments in the show. And this is really just scraping the surface for Fate Zero, because I did not mention any themes it has. I didn't mention the action or the animation. PS, the animation's fucking good and the action's really good. I think this came out like 12 years ago too, and it's still holding up, which is crazy. If you guys watched the entire video too, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe for anime content and check out my Twitch link in the description. I stream every week and I'll be streaming more these coming weeks because school's off, the semester's off. So check me out there. We're gonna have some conversations about anime. And yeah, guys, I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day and peace, everybody. Have a good one. Jerry, you have anything to say, Jerry? Meow.